Hello there, lads and ladies. Welcome back, finally, to another review of a manga. And today we are doing Konohana Kitan Volume 5. Now, with Konohana Kitan Volume 5, the interesting thing in this is that we kind of go back and forth between the present and the past, between Kiri, Iai-san, Sakura, and present-day Yuzu, Satsuki, so on and so forth. It's going in and out of their lives as we go through. I think the first section is mostly Kiri's past, and the rest of it is what's going on in the present, really. And if you've noticed, I finally have myself a new poster. I ordered this literally about 4 or so, maybe 5 weeks ago, something like that, and it said that it was delivered, but I got no such thing, so I thought they must have lost it in delivery. But thankfully, it showed up literally 3 days after I left for Oxford, which was fun, by the way. I enjoyed myself. It was just mainly a nice little getaway where I can relax, have some peace, and go through some books, which I managed to do with most of the Konohana Kitan series, and I've honestly enjoyed it. I've honestly loved reading, I've enjoyed the piece. But yeah, it's time to get back and do some reviews and get back into some other stuff as well. So, yes, if you notice, the picture behind me is a picture of Yuzu, who is probably my favourite Konohana Kitan character and probably my favourite manga female character because of how kind she is. And it's very rare to find a character that's as kind as she is, but it's sincere. And it kind of explains her character in this volume, really, because there's a section where she's talking with Bikuni-sama, because if you don't remember, Bikuni-sama is the woman who raised her from a young age to the young woman she is now. She basically asks Yuzu a question whilst she's helping her deal with the deads of, the spirits of the young dead amount of children that came from a bus accident, unfortunately. When I say children, they're about maybe 17, 18, teens, basically. They're still kids, basically. It's always horrible to hear, really. And she kind of like says to them, you know, you can't save everyone if you choose to, which is why when I watched you go from one person to the other, you, in the end of it, you never got to like give anyone a good like farewell, apart from one, which she gave like this special charm to this young girl because she wanted to see the cherry blossoms. That charm was gifted to her by Okami because she believed that whilst meeting Bikuni, they were going to do stuff like this because Bikuni basically is kind of like that mediator between the human world and the spirit world where they basically cross over. Although it's technically not crossing over because Konohana Kitan is basically the middle ground where they decide whether or not to go back or go to heaven. And the interesting thing with it really is that she asks Yuzu a question basically. If there was someone drowning closer to you and I was drowning a little further away, who would you choose? She couldn't answer it straight away because she has a mentality of wanting to save everybody, and that's not always the brightest thing really because you can't save everyone. It's near nigh impossible. It's like the train theory. Like, would you save like a train full of 15 strangers or say 4 or 5 people you know? Most people will normally go for the people that they care about because that's just human nature. We care for our own basically. But then you have to then think, these 15 people are innocent, they've done nothing wrong. Why should more people have to suffer because of this reason? It's just one of those odd conundrums that she puts her in. And when she was younger, she kind of like gave like the nicest, most sincere idea to it. She basically said, well, I'd throw out a log, I'd push out a log towards the people who were drowning, and then they can hold on to that whilst I swam out to save you. It's kind of a nice, sweet, lovely, childish idea, but it kind of shows the innocence that Yuzu has. Like, she's not stupid, like nowhere near stupid. She might mess up and do things a little bit odd here and there, but she is willing to basically learn to better herself and those around her, basically. She can't stand the suffering of other people, which is something I quite find endearing in someone like Yuzu, especially in our day and time when all you hear throughout the news is mostly just horrid stuff. Like, I can't go literally one moment throughout the day without hearing about COVID or anything like that. It would just be nice to get back to a world without something like that going on and on and on. But it is something we have to live with, and it is something we shall live with for the rest of our lives, really. It's just how we are as humans. We adapt and advance, and we adapt and survive. That's how it is, really, for all humans. But yes, now passing over Yai's story, sorry about that. Yai and Kiri's story, it's just kind of a continuation of chapter 4. Sorry, not chapter 4, volume 4, where it basically Yai is like new to being a mother, so she obviously has struggles with it from time to time, but she, does come to it naturally. But she thinks she's not very good due to the fact that she was probably responsible to Sakura's father's death, which I didn't quite like when I read that in the manga. Not that he died. I mean, he died basically. But the problem is with a very prominent figure is that you can't just yada yada their death and like not give an excuse to us seeing what they look like or who they are as a character. I kind of find that Sakura basically just goes over the father of Sakura, which is kind of insulting a little bit because I feel like it's important to know who he was to kind of have a grasp of how, because Yai is obviously crushed that she killed her husband, but we don't really know the reason why he was killed. Like, I think it was something to do with how she was a servant to this spirit. I can't remember what the name of what she is. A Dakai Matsu or something like that. I don't really know, but apparently, like if you wish for something, it's kind of like if you wish for something hard enough, you can then give a piece of your soul to this woman. So she's sort of like a succubus in a certain sense. Like she feeds on the life of others, but obviously not in a sexual term. Obviously, it's nothing like a succubus, but it is similar to a succubus. How she feeds on life energy from her followers, basically, and it was similar with Yai because what happens really is that Yai's daughter, basically Sakura, will die within 6 months if nothing happens, basically, if nothing impedes it. So Yai basically tells her, I will give my life for my daughter, when she could have just, taken some other follower's life. She could have, given up, she could have given up her services. That's what she probably mostly meant, is that she wanted her to be in service to her again. She wanted Yai to be in service to her. But she would rather die than be in service to her and not be herself. And she would normally give up her own self so that Sakura could basically grow up to be, who she can be, basically. She doesn't die, immediately, really. She kind of, takes time. She takes, 6 or so months to fade away. I've kind of spoiled what happens in volumes 6 and 7, but that is mostly the main focal point for those volumes. So I will go over those when I get the chance. But just warning you now, Yai will die. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. So it's more about the fact that she loses her memory, because this is very important with Kiri, because Kiri only started to become the girl she is, and she grows into the woman she is because of Yai. She kind of helps her to understand, what she's lacking within herself and how she develops as a person, really. So that is mostly the Yai story. And then there's a segment with Momo, because Momo is the younger sister of Ren, who goes to work at Konohana, but she is so airheaded. People think Yuzu's airheaded, but no, she's not. Momo is the airheaded one. It's funny as well because she's not dumb as well, but she can't pick up social cues, basically. It's kind of like with me, really, with my autism, really, because there are some social cues that I can pick up, but then there are some where I'm like, huh? What? So it's the way she processes things, basically. Also, I quite like Momo compared to Ren, because Ren's old-fashioned and what she cares about what other people think about it, why she's so into fashion, but Momo doesn't give a shit. And that's why I love Momo. I kind of wish Momo was the replacement for Ren, because she just doesn't care what people thinks, because like words are words basically in the day. You know, the only the only way it's going to hurt you is if you let it hurt you. Like you can either choose to ignore it or just choose to be yourself. Both really are good for your health really at the end of the day really, because you know if you just allow people to just get at you like that, then you're only yourself to blame because you bought into their ball. You know, only you know you. No one else can know you. That's it really. It's kind of like why I like Momo, this character. She's very uh sisconish with Ren. Like she looks up to her, and it's you know Japan how they're weird with like the brother sister stuff and all that stuff, you know. So it doesn't work out at Konohana because everyone wants to kill Momo. So she goes to work at the Shrine Maiden with Satsuki's sister and her assistant. The assistant has a fun time bashing over the head with a pan, not a pan, a fan. Sorry, a paper fan. And there's also this masochistic character in there who also quite likes to be well masochistic, and she kind of wishes for the she kind of wishes for Ayame to like hit her with a paper fan and all that all the time. I don't get it. It's very yeah, it's, it's what it is. It's a Yuri book. You know, you're gonna get moments like that as you do really, which is kind of why it explains why the author kind of like went over the father's death basically like with Yai with her husband, because it was kind of like wow, like that's a very important character, like why would you just go over that? That's odd really. Maybe like in the 10th volume, I haven't read the 10th volume, but maybe in the 10th volume they might go over it in a little bit, I hope. But I don't think it's going to be like that because I think it's going to be mostly based around the Konohana characters in their final send-off, because I think this also goes into a second novel branch, so I will have to check that out because I really love this series and I really want to try and get back into it when I get the opportunity. And any type of volume or new series will work wonders. And basically, to finish off, there's a section where Yuzu basically has a dream about this woman who is I think it's a Yuuki-Ona, I believe. A Yuuki-Ona is a mythological woman who is basically like what we would refer to as the Ice Queen or a Snow Woman, except she's told by Bikuni-sama that she basically visits naughty girls. It was a way to like chill her out as a young woman because when she was young she used to be very hyper and all over the place really and causing like clumsiness half the time. So it was just a way for her to calm her down basically. But there's actually some truth to the story because she has a dream that she's visited by this Yuuki-Ona and is delivered safely to Bikuni-sama. She can't remember her face. What's funny as well is that she's also a fox, which comes up later because there's actually the realization outside of the dream. Okami knows this woman and basically she dies in the snowstorm holding Yuzu. She holds Yuzu and is found by Bikuni-sama, and Bikuni is the one who technically saved her, even though she thinks that this spirit saved her. And then Okami basically has Unosuke, the little pig that eats dreams. He's eating Yuzu's dreams at the moment, but still has it, and she meets this Yuuki-Ona in the hotel, and then says, like, you can allow your daughter to see you if I have this pig cough up the dream. And she just says no because she doesn't want her to like suffer from remembering her basically. So yes, we do get a glance at Yuzu's mother and how very similar they are alike really. She's very beautiful, she's very she doesn't say anything. I think mainly it's because, you know, she's a spirit. I don't think she's able to, but she's only able to like show herself through like poltergeist form, through spirit form basically. But yeah, she's very much like Yuzu, or Yuzu is very much like her mother, really. She's very kind-hearted. She doesn't want people to suffer, and even though Kami says that, like your daughter is very much like you, doesn't want anyone to suffer, anything like that. Basically, it's just interesting, really, how you know how the author goes over just a small glimmer of what Yuzu's true mother was, basically, but is able to capture like the essence of Yuzu basically through her mother, because the one thing that we mostly get from our parents are their attributes, their looks, but just a little bit better in a certain sense. Our children are an extension of us through better and bad terms, basically. Everything bad and good we get from our parents, either way, really. Doesn't mean we always turn out like them. That's also down to choice, really, with a child. Like, I mean, I could have turned out like my father, really, but I chose not to. Because for reasons obviously unknown to others, but I'll keep that to myself for now, really, because it's something that doesn't need to be explained by anyone, really, because it's my life and I chose to do what I did with it because of certain reasons that my parents did when I was younger. But, you can't always rely on the sadness of life to get you through it. It's there as an obstacle for you to climb over, go under, or push through it. As we all learn, really, as we're children, you can either ball up and cry, or you can get up and do something about it. And I chose to get up and do something about it and not cry about it. So, with that, lads and ladies, that is Konohana Kitan, Volume 5. I hope you all enjoyed the review. Hopefully, within the week or so, I'll probably do another Tattoo Story Time, another Konohana Kitan book, or I will probably go on to Comic-Con Communicate, because it has been a while since last Comic-Con Communicate. It's just trying to revise it, basically, because I've been watching the episodes, but I haven't been catching up on my reading, really. I've mostly just been doing Konohana Kitan, just so I can get through it, basically. But it's interesting either way. So, thank you ever so much.